Can you briefly explain your job and like anything that has to do with some like your profession?
Sure. So my official title is Pre-K through 5 STEM Coordinator at Canton Public Schools. This is a new position to the town, just started last year. So my job is to support pre-K through 5 teachers in work with STEM, which is math and science mostly at the elementary level.
Okay. Was there anything in your childhood or any experiences recently that caused you to want to go into your current field?
Yeah, there are so many. Sometimes it's things that you don't realize that are going to inspire you to do something, and they're just kind of tucked away. Um, I think back to when I was in high school, there was a science fair that my one of my high school science teachers, just kind of suggested, and it was for like women in science. Now this is going way back, you know, in the 80s, and that was a big thing back then because that wasn't as fully supported as it is now. Now it's a much more of a push for women in science. And I distinctly remember being at that science fair. It was on a Saturday. It was held at Wheaton College in Norton. And I remember just listening to all of these women scientists. And I had already known that I liked science. Um, in high school, whenever I had a chance to take an elective, I was the kid that took their elective as an additional science class. It was just my thing. I really enjoyed it. So it probably started back middle school, high school. I just really liked the classes, liked the teachers, and really found my interest was in science. Um, so then when I went to college, I ended up being a science major. I was a psychobiology major, and just really enjoyed everything about it. So that was kind of like how I got into the whole idea of having science as a career, um, where I took a little left turn and wasn't necessarily doing all science at the time. I taught elementary school for 10 years, and um, I taught science at the Galvin for 7 years, and computers, another neat little turn, for 7 years at the Galvin. And I've been in this position for the last 2 years as STEM coordinator.
Just to kind of go off of that, you're talking about how there's like different aspects of STEAM that you like learned that you liked. What is the most exciting thing about your job in STEAM?
Um, so a few different things. I'm going to say that my current job in STEAM is actually the last 15 years or so. If I go back to teaching science, I taught 8th grade biology at the Galvin for 7 years. My favorite part about that was just getting kids interested and trying to have that same experience for them that I had from some of my best teachers, and finding kids that were just starting to get interested in science and hopefully trying to foster that. Um, in computers, it was a nice change. I love science, but it was a nice way to take another look at STEM jobs. Um, where for the first time I was taking coding classes myself um, as an adult, which was kind of neat. And just getting kids to feel that independence about using technology. I mean, think about how much things have changed in the last year, right? How much we're relying on technology more and more. So it was kind of nice to give some kids that foundation, and knowing that hopefully some of the things that they learned in class are now carrying them through this time where we totally need technology. Um, and then in the current job, some of the stuff I like the best are working with teachers and working with kids. It's a very different role, not being in the classroom. I was in the classroom for 24 years. But it's a really nice way to get back to my roots of being an elementary teacher and having those cool experiences and listening to kids, seeing like how awesome they are, and they're open to every idea, and they wonder about everything, that I get a lot out of. I hope they get a lot out of what I provide, but I totally get a lot out of what they do. It's really, really awesome and inspiring.
Like, I think you like touched on this earlier, but like, what led to you, or like, what really interested you in being both a teacher and having a field in STEAM?
Again, it was just different experiences that I had that I was lucky enough to have as a kid. Part of it, both my dad and my brother were engineers, different types, electrical and mechanical engineering. So we're always kind of around them, tinkering and stuff. My mother was very artistic in the way that she was able to put things together with patterns and things like that. So that was always kind of part of my life as a little kid growing up. And like I said before, just not being afraid to take some risks with some classes to find out, is this for me? And it's okay if it's not. You're not going to love every science that you take. You're not going to love every piece of every computer class you take, but you can just kind of pull the best of what you have and try to get inspired by what interests you the most.
I think that's so true, taking inspirations from everything you do. Was there any challenges that you faced in any time in your career that inspired you too?
That's a great question. There's always going to be challenges. No job is ever going to be 100% perfect and 100% easy, just like the classes that you guys are taking in high school, right? You work hard, and you're always going to hit little bumps in the road, but hopefully you're going to learn from those. And I keep saying, like, don't be afraid to take some chances. Like for me, like for coding at kids your age, it's going to come a little bit more natural to you because you've kind of grown up with technology. It was hard for me in the coding class that I took, but I didn't give up and wasn't afraid to ask a lot of questions. And so it wasn't a challenge because I knew that I would end up having to teach this to someone else. But in a weird way, it became one of my favorite things. Probably because I had to work extra hard at something, that it didn't come so easy, that it made me want to learn even more about it and to get better than I thought that I could. And that was a challenge, but you can try to, like I always say, you can learn something from every experience you have.
Yeah, I really like how you said, like, you can learn something from every experience, because I feel like, I don't know, it sounds very motivational. So kind of going off of like challenges, are there any like challenges that you face like directing STEAM as a whole for all of Canton?
The pandemic. When I started my first year on this job, the pandemic hit. So I'm a big proponent of hands-on science. There's no hands-on science right now. So it's very difficult because we can't be sharing materials and kids have to be separated. And some of the best STEAM experiences that you probably had were working in small groups together and kind of gathered around a table and working out a problem together. And now look at us. We're doing it by Zoom. It's just quite not the same. So that's a big challenge for promoting STEM without being able to, right now, promote hands-on science. It's difficult. But I'm looking forward to the day that we can get the kids back in and working in small groups and thinking out problems and trying to inspire them that way. It will come someday.
Awesome to see how kids love finding out about new things, especially in STEAM.
Absolutely. I remember I was at one of the schools and I took the kids out just for a walk. and just the questions that they were coming up with. And it could have, we could have gone in so many directions, but it really kind of gives you that, like, wow, these kids are ready to learn and ready to experience some more things. And even though you can't answer every question for them, we could just lead them on that right path, saying you're going to be learning about that, in ninth grade physics, but you can kind of lead them and let them know that there are answers, and it's really fun to try to figure them out.
Yeah, it's like they have like a whole different kind of perspective on things.
Oh my gosh, they do. They notice so many things that as an adult, I'm like, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Why that crack is running this way in the sidewalk and not, they're absolutely awesome. Kids are amazing.
You talked about your journey and your path taking a lot of turns. In the future, where do you see yourself in STEAM?
Right now, I'm just hoping to get through these next few months. Like, I know that sounds like a very short vision, but my thing is, if we can figure out these next couple months, then the whole next chapter of next year and beyond, I can't even imagine how many cool things we'll be able to do together. So with my career and stuff, I'm just looking forward to getting into the classroom more and supporting the teachers more and getting to work with kids a little bit more, so that all of these great ideas that we have, we can actually get back to where we want to be, working with kids, giving them materials, having them figure out what's going on, and work out problems together. So that's my goal right now, is just like post-pandemic, what is my job going to be? Because right now my job has only been during the pandemic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like what can this job turn into when we can actually have like really awesome STEAM activities going on.
I think that's a really important question, is like, where will we go from here? And like thinking about all the new projects you're probably going to start, all those types of things are just really exciting.
Think about how much you guys have learned during the pandemic with Zoom and this and that you might not have been exposed to. And then taking all these cool things that you've learned, and then how can you apply it to a different circumstance in the future? That's pretty neat. You guys are probably computer wizards right now, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things that came out of the pandemic, because we have so many new...
There are some good positive things that can come out of it,
yeah.
Well, as our like final question that we've been asking different questions to everyone, but this one is like, everybody has gotten this question. What does STEAM mean to you?
STEAM means following your passion. STEAM means trying to put pieces together and make better sense of your world. Where you just don't have one view of why something happens. You have to look at it from, what's the artistic piece that's, instead of me just building a robot, how can I bring in art to make it more pleasurable to look at? How can I change the dimensions of something? So I have to bring in math to help me figure out that problem. Technology, how can I, now that I have my project, how can I share it with the world? So it might be more of a technology like we're using now. Engineering, how can I use that engineering design process to look at my project, think it through, figure out what needs to be tweaked, and go back and fix it to make it better. It's trying to pull in all of these different pieces of learning to try to figure out a problem so that you have the best answer that you possibly can. That's my answer.
That is a very good answer.
Whew, you guys put me on the spot there.
I know we said that was the last question, but just as like an add-on, could you also talk about what impact STEAM has had on you?
It's really, STEAM in general is a topic. It's allowed me to pursue different things that I didn't know that I wanted to do or that I could do before, I guess you could say. Like the word STEAM wasn't around when I was younger. You know, there was things were just a little bit more separate. You know, we took math and science all separate. So it's allowed me to kind of broaden my experiences a little bit. To, like I said, like with the coding course and things, to take a little bit different view of topics that I was interested in, and just kind of broaden my view of my learning. So for example, you know, I was a teacher and I would always teach science in elementary. Kids would love it. And then I broadened my view a little bit more and, okay, let me focus on biology at the middle school level. And then it broadened my teaching view of what else can I do? Okay, let me learn a little bit more about technology. So I got certified in technology. And that kind of broadened my view of what kids can do. And now as STEM coordinator for pre-K through 5, it's allowed me to take even a broader view, saying, okay, what do teachers need? What do students need in order to succeed in learning about STEM? So it just kind of gave me this ability to look a little bit broader and to experience what I can learn, and then in turn, more that kids can learn. So it just gives you this nice view that there's more to learn, and let's go ahead and try to encompass everything we can to give the best experiences to the students here at Canton Public